Number 2, Honourable David Cunliffe.
Speaker, to the Prime Minister, is he concerned about rising inequality in New Zealand?
Honourable Bill English on behalf of the Prime Minister.
On behalf of the Prime Minister, as the member well knows, the most recent research shows that income inequality isn't rising in New Zealand. And I know the members are worried about other forms of inequality, and so am I, particularly the inequality between the support for David Cunliffe in the Labour caucus and the...
Order. That may not help the order of the House.
Speaker.
Order. Supplementary question, Honourable David Cunliffe.
Mr. Speaker, given those comments, does he stand by his statement in the United States that National has known for 2 weeks about the existence of a letter from myself to Mr Dongha Liu, and how does he reconcile that with Mr English's comments that senior National Party MPs didn't know about it?
Order. It may be Thursday afternoon and some members may be keen to return to their electorates early, and if the noise keeps up like this level, somebody will. I'll hear the point of order from the Honourable Jerry Bradley. And I remind members
my point is simply
it is a point of order.
Well, the Prime Minister, Acting Prime Minister, on behalf of the Prime Minister, is happy to answer the question. It is very wide of the wickets, and perhaps is an indicator of the capacity inside our opponents to deliver...
Order! I reminded members to my left before the point of order was started, it is a point of order. So would the member please finish his point of order?
No, I think I made the point.
Speaking to the point of order.
Grant Robertson.
Mr Speaker, it was quite clear at the end of the Acting Prime Minister's answers. He introduced this material. It's perfectly within standing orders to ask questions in response to that.
And order. The Minister of Finance, in answering, certainly extended the scope, and I invite him now to answer the question that was asked by the Honourable David Cunliffe.
Mr Speaker, I understand the letter was in the public arena because it was requested under the Official Information Act by a number of media outlets, and that prior to that, I'm advised today, it came to the notice of a minister who was answering oral questions in the House when the Leader of the Opposition was on his high horse about cronyism between Maurice Williamson and why he should be sacked because of it.
Mr Speaker.
Supplementary question, Honourable David Cunliffe.
Mr Speaker, given that the New Zealand Herald journalist concerned only requested the letter that we have been referring to regarding Mr Dongha Liu on Monday of this week, how is it that he knew about it for the last 2 weeks?
Order.
Well, Mr Speaker,
on behalf of the Prime Minister.
It's apparent that the New Zealand Herald journalist was more concerned about understanding the background to these events than the Leader of the Opposition was, who had been prosecuting the campaign against Mr Liu and Maurice Williamson vigorously for about 3 weeks. And he should have done the same thing, and that is find out the information himself in the same way that the New Zealand Herald journalist did.
Point of order, Grant Robertson.
Mr Speaker, that was a very specific question, and it was not addressed in the answer by the Acting Prime Minister.
And in my opinion, to the best of my ability to hear the answer was adequately addressed by... Order. The member will remain on his seat while I'm on my feet. It would be helpful if I could more clearly listen to the answer, and that would require certainly some less interjection from the left.
Order. Mr Speaker, just to clarify, sir, are you asking me to repeat the question as you were unable to hear the answer?
No, I'm saying that the question has been addressed, but I'm inviting the member to continue with further subservice.
I will, sir. Thank you. Given that the New Zealand Herald journalist concerned only requested the letter in the last 48 hours, how did the Prime Minister know about it for the last 2 weeks?
Honourable Bill English on behalf of the Prime Minister.
Well, Mr Speaker, the member would need to ask the Prime Minister that question. And I gather that I understand that he is being asked that question, and no doubt he'll answer it. But that member seems to be riding flat out on his high horse towards the pet food factory.
Supplementary, Mr. Speaker.
Order. Order. Supplementary question, Honourable David Cunliffe.
Mr. Speaker, does he think his Finance Minister misled listeners on Radio New Zealand this morning when he said that senior National Party MPs did not know about the letter?
Order. Honourable Bill English on behalf of the Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, no, I was speaking for myself. I was aware of the letter, and as John, I was aware of the letter yesterday, and as John Campbell said, like many other New Zealanders, I was shocked, I was stunned, I couldn't believe it, and I'm surprised the member wants to keep talking about it.
Mr. Speaker.
Supplementary question, Honourable Jerry Brownlee.
To the Prime Minister, was it reasonable for the Prime Minister to assume that at some point, as the arguments were evolving, that the Leader of the Opposition might have outed himself before the OIA process did it for him?
Honourable Bill English on behalf of the Prime Minister.
Well, Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister probably assumed that the Leader of the Opposition, when he was vigorously prosecuting the resignation of a government minister, knew what he was doing and was familiar with the background to the issue. But it appears that, like Labor Party policies, it was unresearched, critical details were missing, and the Leader of the Opposition now has to take responsibility for yet another mess, which his caucus is pretty upset about.
Mr. Speaker.
Supplementary question, Honourable David Cunliffe.
Mr. Speaker, on which occasion has the Honourable Bill English been misleading the public? When he said on Radio New Zealand this morning that senior National Party MPs did not know about the letter, or when he has just said in the House, on behalf of the Prime Minister, acknowledged that the Prime Minister did?
Honourable Bill English on behalf of the Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, no. I was asked my view about that issue on national radio, and I answered to the best of my knowledge, which is that I did not know about that letter. I did not know about whether other ministers knew about it. The critical thing is that I knew more than David Cunliffe when I knew almost nothing.
Supplementary question, Honourable Jerry Brownlee.
Mr. Speaker, to the Prime Minister, would he advise the Leader of the Opposition to make a thorough check of his files, his party files and other matters, to ensure that all declarations around donations are as well recorded as this particular letter?
Order. A good try, but on this occasion there's certainly no responsibility there. Supplementary question, Honourable David Cunliffe.
Mr. Speaker, further to the Prime Minister's last answer, can the House take it that he now thinks, to the best of somebody's knowledge, based on the information available to them at the time, is an absolutely right and proper answer?
Honourable Bill English on behalf of the Prime Minister.
Actually, Mr. Speaker, I think the answer to that is yes. But of course, when I say on radio, when I said to the media that I didn't know about the letter, I was not testing the trust of New Zealanders in the way that David Cunliffe is now, because he said he wouldn't tell us where he lived. He said it was a doer-upper and it was a mansion. He announced policies without critical detail.
Order. Order. The member has a right to ask a supplementary question. The Honourable Jerry Brownlee.
Members may not like the questions, but people are listening to them. Mr. Speaker, to the Prime Minister, can he tell the House whether who knew what or when changes the fact that the Leader of the Opposition tried to hide the material facts?
Again, I don't believe there's any ministerial responsibility. Order. Could the House please settle down? Question number 3. Order. Question number 3, Right Honourable Winston Peterson.
Mr. Speaker, this question is to the Minister of